Alrighty, so buggy, no batteries, new lithium battery. Yes, that is a Chinese battery, but as you can see, this is just one of my garages. I've got crap, expenses, you know, so for a buggy that I got from my wife at an auction, still not cheap. Battery was still over $1,000. So this isn't my only gig, and unfortunately saving $500, $500 between this battery, which is a 105 amp hour, and a 60 amp hour whatever, $400 or $500 more for one of those, probably a bigger brand name. But for my wife to flop around our joint, I think it'll do. I'm just grateful I got it before any tariffs popped in. Not saying I'm against the tariffs or anything like that. I'm just happy that I got it before they hit. Whole point was to save some money, because you can see I have all kinds of other expenses, things. That's my new Leaf, my billy goat, the seat for the buggies on it, but I just got that a while ago. Used it a couple of times to help with my never-ending leaves. The John Deere, it's fine, it's running great. The hydraulic valve in the steering seal started leaking, so I bought a new one. I just got it the other day, so I got to put it back in and put it together. So the John Deere will be rolling again, but I'm going to take the cowl and whatnot, and I'm going to take it into the other garage and clean them and buff them out and polish them up a bit, give it a little bit of a, just dues. But for now, I got to get that doohickey into that doohickey, and these were the parts that came with the doohickey. So there's a touch screen, cable for the touch screen, some bolts, hardware, a 110 charger adapter, some straps, and the charger with some doodads. So I think it's kind of straightforward. I've got to get this, I think I got to get that plug out of here and get that cable for the monitor ran up, undo a few things in here from this battery monitor thing. But I think it's pretty straightforward. I'm just at my leads, after I get that cable out of there, and what I'm going to set it in there and see how the fitment works. I might have to cut that stuff out there, use my angle grinder or something to cut it out. This has already got some 12 volt lights on it, so there's some extra wiring here for the 12 volt lights. Yeah, so let me fiddle fart around with it, and I'll pop this back on. I'm sure I'll get a bunch of hate from the 4 people that will ever watch this video about the battery, but that's the way it is. It's just how it goes. Had to do what I had to do. Hopefully it works out. For as long as we have this and fart around, that should do just fine. And it's a 5-year warranty. It craps out before that. Hopefully I won't have a problem. But if I do, I have to get another battery. It's bad on me. Anyway, yahoo! Get my Honey Bunny's buggy up and going here for her. She's been wanting a golf cart for a long time. So, but man, they're proud of these things new. Just couldn't justify it. Man, it's just amazing how much they get for these things. Well, let me fiddle fart around and I'll fiddle back. Alrighty, a few screws. Got that kick plate out, which is that thing right there. That kick plate reveals the screws to the 48 volt charging plug-in port. So I got the 110, that's why I'm trying to get that out of here. But took some side ones off here to get the rubber mat up. I'll probably clean this up a little bit, but I need to run the cable for the LCD down through one of these channels here. So that's not much of a problem. I gotta go get a Phillips to get that thing out of there and be back. Well, the first little snafu, and I kinda was thinking this, because this kit is not specific to this, or this battery, whatever, stuff, kit is not specific to this cart. And I was wondering if this plug was going to be a direct fit, and it's not. Could I make it work? Yeah. But can I order one that's a direct screw-in replacement? Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. I've seen them online. Anyway, but I can continue on with what I'm doing as it is, and get this thing installed and see how things check out. But that's kind of to be expected. So correctamundo, I am going to have to cut those ribs out to mount this, that dividing rib that's down in here is gonna have to come out because that's just too long. Well, that's the way that goes. Nothing major. I said at the beginning I'm probably gonna have to trim that, and I will. And that will be that. So let me figure that one out. Okay, new day, back on the buggy. So what has to happen now is this ground needs to get lengthened, and I was gonna make one, except I have one, but it needs to get modified a little bit in that that's not gonna work. So I don't think an 8mm will go through that, and I need to heat shrink it, which I do have heat shrink, but I think I'm gonna change these ends out for these ends. That'll work. 8mm will go through that. Maybe an 8 would go through that smaller one. But I have these guys. But I also have, I just grabbed a bunch of shit and tossed it. I got these guys too, which are actually true battery. That will work with this wire. So I'll see what I'm gonna do, but either way I gotta, damn it, I think I dropped one of those. Son of a bitch, I did. Anyway, I think rather than just make one, a whole one, I'll cut the end off, put a new end, cut it to length. Except this ground, it has a ground for the computer, which I don't care about, and it has this ground. So there's actually a couple of wires on this thing. Anyway, so that's what I'm up to. I'll catch you up here in a bit. So this is my new ground. Let's see if I can. That's the new ground. And it comes, I run it through the computer thing again, just as it was. Come out this way. And kind of tidied that one up. I put some heat shrink on that one. And I gotta get underneath. I gotta trace some of this stuff just to make sure I know what's going on. Some of these things I need to put some heat shrink on or redo them. I think they just kind of cobbled these strobe lights and stuff in this thing and made it functional. But anyway, got a new ground. Longer, I'll have to cut it to length. I did find a piece of plywood, so I put that in the bottom. I'll probably self-tap, tech screw that down, and then I have something to run the straps for the batteries in the shop. Run the straps around for the battery, so I don't have clamps for it. That's where the charger will mount. I did order a different 110 outlet, one that's for this cart, so it'll bolt right in, but be 110 for the charger. And I got to run the gauge or the LCD screen under and up. Yup, do that. Battery capacity charging, that's part of the computer stuff, I think. The old computer stuff. Alright, keep moving on. Moving on. Cut to tractor. So I'm back on the tractor. Working on that. 12 volt stuff is working fine. No drive to the motor. So I've got to, there's one thing I got to see about jumping a wire in here. I don't know, because that whole battery thing goes away, but I'm not getting anything. No clicking of the solenoid whatsoever. We'll see. It kind of was driving when you got it. The batteries were just so fried. So it's got to be something with this battery management system. I don't have it defunctified properly, I guess. Like this got unplugged. They said to unplug that. Maybe I don't need to unplug that. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I watched a couple of 3 videos before on this buggy when I had the lead acid batteries in here, and then had found pretty quickly the batteries were shot. I wish I would have paid more attention to that with the auction, but because they're not cheap, as I mentioned already. That was $1,100 plus, and it's not even like one of those names that you hear all the time. But nothing was working, so I went back and watched some of the lithium swap out videos, and I was like, okay, I've done everything. Had to fix a few little things here and there, or attend to a few things here and there. Anyway. Nothing was happening at all. And the problem was, and none of the lithium swap people say this, I still had to do the jump, the computer jump, to bypass the onboard computer. Everybody, all the videos I saw simply said, pull out the cord, the charging assembly cord that came on the buggy, and put your 110 one in for your new charger, and hook your new batteries up, and that's it. You don't. No. You got to do that whole. You got to do that whole computer jump swap thing, jump, right? Which is, you'll see it online if you if you're looking at stuff, but it's the white and blue line on that computer harness, right? That's what the ones you jump. And so now I did that, turned it on, put it, and run, turned it on, mashed the pedal a little bit, heard the solenoid go click, and it pulled forward. So you got to do that. This is a 2011. So if you're doing a lithium swap on like a 2011 Club Car Precedent, I found you got to do the cable jump or the onboard computer jump bypass. You don't do that, you get nothing. You do that, it functions. So, but like I said before, I got to do some tidying up. They got some wires just jumbled in here, and given that it has strobes, cigarette stuff, or 12-volt power stuff, cigarette lighters. Some of you old folks remember these more cigarette lighters and power points, but it's got some power points, strobe lights. So I think I might wind up putting a fuse block in. Anyway, it's working. So I'm gonna clean up some of these wires and go from there. But that's pretty awesome. I'm stoked about that. I gotta look at the switch up here too, because that light switch isn't it's a little wiggly wobbly. The lights flicker and whatnot, so pretty cool. Let me get back at it here. So you can see here, put in kind of a wood bottom that's elevated just a little bit so I can get their mounting straps. So that's what I gotta hook up into here. Got this all tidied up a bit, wood. Got the wiring, fuse block. Still have a few little things to do, but tidying it up, and it functions. So it did. Well, after I got the wires, we'll try it again and see what happens. All right, continuing on. All right. I'm back on the buggy here real quick, and the battery is installed. Took a little bit of an effort because it's kind of universal, right? So I had to cut that brace center divider out. I think I talked about that. Some people have had to do that on other installs I've seen. I did have to bypass the computer, do the blue and white wire together. Nobody mentioned that, just swapping out to lithium, but had to do it on this. Got the charger installed. I installed a breaker box there, if you will, fuse box. Got the 110 hooked up. Charger works. Everything's functional. So see how it goes. And there's the screen, so it works. It's kind of cool. Has different kinds of modes on it, I think. I think that's the battery packs. 90%. So yeah, it works. Bug cart cruises right along well enough for my wife and around the joint here. Not much to do with hills. Actually, there's no hills. Anyway, so the buggy is on the road and it's cruising. And the Cloud Energy battery, like I said, had to do some whacking and hacking to get it in. But at the end of the day, all good. I put that little wood floor, subflooring in it, and tidied up some of the wires. Doesn't look like it. It's just kind of hard to keep them just all tidied up. But I got them to where they make sense if you look at them individually. And it's all good. So I'm going to put on some mirrors and new shocks. I replaced the passenger hip restraint because This one was broke, kind of in poor shape. So replaced that. I got mirrors to go on and new rear shocks, and that'll call it a day. Then my wife can clean it up and put her stickers or whatever she wants to do with it. Alright, so that's kind of basically a wrap for the buggy with the battery install on the road. I'm not even sure what part number there is, but this Monroe is EM049901, and that is 220226A. So that's what's on that one. I think this was like a king shock. It doesn't have any distinguishing marks on it, but it is quite a bit more stiff than the Monroe, that's for sure. Alright, well, I'll get these off and then show you the old ones here. Alright, you can see a difference in these shocks. This is an OE shock, and it's by Monroe. I should write those numbers down. But the place I bought from, all they had was one left in stock, and everywhere else the OE shocks are pretty dang spendy just for what we use this thing for. So this is a known, well, I say known, it was a brand, at least that's what they had on the site, that I've seen on different sites quite often. It seemed to be kind of a common item for putting on buggies other than the OE, but you can see the difference on these things. The body of this shock is much bigger than the body of this other shock. The diameters are way different. And anyway, the mounts are different. The OE does look much more refined. The Monroe looks much more refined than the non-Monroe one. It's pretty decent difference in size of bodies, and then even the dampening and extension rates feel differently. So what I think what I'll do is put this one on the driver's side and that one on the passenger side, because it seems like that's a little bit stiffer of a shock. Let's see here. So old, new. You can see the bushing's a little bit wonky on the old one here. But same with the top. I did see a part number on this other one. There's the part number for this other one, PUR6100. I think 6100 is the number. But this one feels fairly similar to that. I don't think it's bad shock. It just seems to be a rough ride. I think this one's still a little bit of a looser shock than this one is even. But alright, I've found that those are like 13s, the hardware. The bottom takes a nut and bolt. The top has the bolt or the nut welded on the back side, so it takes no nuts. Alright, new shocks front and back are on. It's all right, I guess. I need to make sure these 12-volt points work. Go get a light, I suppose. Okay. Well, new shocks on, front and rear. New battery installed. New handrest installed. Mirrors installed. Put a new one of hip restraints in. The other one was cracked. Batteries all in. All in battery. All good. Those I just stuck there so I don't lose them. I'm not using them since it's hooked into the 110. New battery. Lithium. Old battery's out. New battery in. Alright, her little buggy's coming along. Right on. The 12 volt power point is functional. That's awesome. Everything is operational on the buggy. Took a little bit after from the auction to getting it functional. The batteries that came in it from the auction were crap. They were thrashed Trojans. So I took them, got 60 bucks, 10 bucks a battery back on those, put this lithium in, put new shocks, tidied up some wiring, but all the strobes which were added work, the headlamps work, mirrors are nice, big mirror up there came with it. Yeah, as you see, it's a little lifted buggy. Just looking how they lifted this one, and pretty kind of straightforward. It's a single monolith going across. But there we go. Liz's little buggy needs to be cleaned up now, and she can scoot around the joint.